point of bringing in George Whitefield into the conversation?
He's another self-made man, contemporary of younger contemporary of Edwards and Franklin, and Whitefield is really the inventor of modern evangelicalism, that developing a revival conversionist version of Christianity that's not to church organizations particularly, but rather is developed in and through churches or around churches or beside churches. So Whitefield, he'd preach in any church that would let him preach. If they didn't let him preach, he'd preach out in the fields, and it turned out preaching in the fields was even more popular. So he'd sometimes have audiences of many thousand people that would gather to hear him preach. But he was the first celebrity evangelist, and he was very traditional Orthodox Reformed in his theology, but his methodology invited what's become characteristic of a lot of evangelicalism, that the star, the celebrity, the person who can draw a big crowd tends to shape the movement, and not all of them are as orthodox as Whitefield. So you get eventually a kind of theological. I think anarchy is not too strong a word to say that there's a lot of good and a lot of mixed up with a lot of other things. But the marvelous thing is 300 years later, there's still a recognizable evangelical message that gets through. The core message survives, but it's a market-driven kind of religion. And the people who find out how to make churches grow better, how to have more popular music, more popular preaching, more, sometimes more popular promises of what people are going to get out of it. That's all mixed in with the gospel message, and I see Whitefield as a progenitor of that, and then that's in contrast to Edwards, who was very consciously trying to keep the message anchored in the church and in the best thinking, and sort of the as C.S. Lewis would say, the Christian truths that have survived through the ages and can be found by looking at the best theologians. So Edwards is seeing the job of the pastor as to be trained well, and then to present that, present that well. And he was all for the revival, but with boundaries. And Whitefield tended to play fast and loose with the boundaries, which was wonderful in some ways. American religion, particularly, has been very strong at the grassroots, and that's because of the strength of the evangelical tradition. That if you have a popular sort of religion, it can take deep root. But it's also populist in the sense that sometimes it picks up ideas and that are very popular but not particularly Christian, and weds them to the Christian tradition. So I see Whitefield as progenitor of the characteristic American style of religion, and I think Edwards is helpful in saying slow down and let's think about where the real center of this ought to be, and not get carried away by popular fads.